Right, so I mentioned about the hospital fiasco. This was when FNAF World was on the scene. So, why did you decide to change things up and make FNAF World?
Well, I do have some reasons for why I made it, even though they're not. It doesn't mean it was a good idea. Just just because I want to go ahead and get that out front. Just because I had reasons for making it, doesn't mean it was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
But one part of it was just that. I mean, there's only so much that you can let your mind focus on, murders and tragedy and stuff like that before you kind of start cracking. Even if it's just stories that you're making up, there's only so much human suffering that the human mind can sit around and think about. And at that point, I was 2 years in, just fully committed to this grisly story of murders. And I had to make something more lighthearted. And in hindsight, what I should have done is, I should have used that for a troll game, or I should have, made something like, Foxy Fighters. I should have just done something that was obviously for fun and not tried to somehow tie it in to a canon game. And that's obvious to me now. But like I'm saying, like I was saying, I wasn't thinking completely rationally at the time. And whereas, like I was saying, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 was the right game at the right time, FNAF World, that wasn't a good time for it to be made, because I was already in the rhythm of making games that were, coming out not too far apart from each other. I was making them pretty fast, and that's what people were wanting and expecting, and that's what I was wanting to do anyway. I'm not, blaming people for wanting that. That's what I had created, that pattern, and I was happy with that. I liked making games really fast, but that was just a really poor decision of a game to try to make fast. In hindsight, like now would have probably been a better time to sit back and work on something like that.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, like after all the after I was kind of satisfied with all the canon games and other companies that, kind of taken on some other projects, then I could sit back and maybe enjoy making an RPG, and spend a couple of years on it, and just make something really nice, kind of, that looked like the Desolate Hope, really make some nice 3D models for it. Oh, and another mistake I made was FNAF World. I was designing it for mobile. I don't know. This is a whole separate interview about what went wrong with FNAF World. So let's just move along.
Okay. Okay. So how would you treat the game now as an experience? Like, have you learned anything making this game?
Oh yeah. I learned a lot. In fact, right before you called, I was kind of thinking over that game, and I realized that that's probably the least valuable game I've ever made as far as profit is concerned. But it's also the single most valuable game out of the entire franchise. And the reason is because what I learned from FNAF World is what is driving every single project going on right now. It is serving as the gemstone of quality control in my mind, and it has solidified exactly what I have to do going forward. If I was treating the movie as I was treating my game series at the time I made FNAF World, we would be 3 movies into the FNAF movies by now. Yeah. And they would probably be terrible. If I had the mindset that, oh hey, it's Five Nights at Freddy's, people will love it, regardless of quality, then we would already have several movies and they would all be terrible. I mean, and this, Ultimate Custom Night would have come out way too soon, and it just served as a really important lesson for me that you should never take, it taught me to never take for granted how special it is to have a group of people who are eager to play what you make. Whenever I made I'll use the Desolate Hope as my example again. I saw one person made a piece of fan art of that on the internet. I found it on Google, someone had drawn one of the characters, and that was the most special thing to me in the world, that someone had drawn a picture of one of my characters. Like, I can't even tell you how important seeing that one drawing was. And it was just, I'd have no idea who it was. But then, to have a fan base and to have kids that are drawing these pictures and, sending, I got a letter from the other day addressed to Foxy.
Oh.
And God bless the post office in my town for knowing me and for sending me these letters anyway. I kid you not, it was addressed to Foxy, only to Foxy, and I think below it might have had some other clue as to who it was for, but the post office made sure to pass it along to me.
Oh.
I mean, how awesome is that? And the letter was written to Foxy. It was asking Foxy a question.
That's so awesome.
you know, that's so, there's nothing more priceless than that.
Yeah.
You know, and to have a fan base, you know, of people who care about these characters in the games, you know, that is the only thing that matters. You know, and they should never be taken for granted.
Yeah.
And you know, who cares if something is commercial, and who cares if something is going to make a whole bunch of money? You know, you just have to make sure that whenever those people finally get to see this next thing, that it's something that lifts them up and makes them happy, and it's something that it was everything that they wanted to see. You know, like that's all that matters, you know. And I need to write that kid back. I'm going to go get a big envelope and put a bunch of Foxy plush toys, and I'm going to write a letter as Foxy. I've never done that before, but I'm going to totally do it. And I'm going to even make a little tear in the paper and say that it was my hook that
yeah,
that cut it. I'm going to totally do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, that's a long story. But no, FNAF World taught me to never take for granted your fan base.
Yeah, exactly. And the final question, which everybody's wanted to ask, is will Chipper ever return like he said he would?
Hey, Chipper is, listen, all of these games are haunted by different spirits, right?
Right.
But the real spirit haunting this whole franchise is Chipper. Chipper is haunting this whole franchise. I mean, I received a box of merchandise the other day, you know, like manufacturer samples, and there's a plush toy of Chipper, well, L Chip, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I held that plush toy, and I was looking at L Chip, and I was thinking to myself, you know, you got merch, Chipper.
Yeah.
You know, you were an abysmal failure, but you found your way into this merch, and here you sit with that goofy grin on your face, you know. Yeah, no, so Chipper's already back. He's infiltrated the franchise.
Yeah. Well, so L Chip to you was a reference to Chipper.
Oh yeah, of course he is.
Yeah, thought so. Now, sister location. I feel like this was like the biggest change up in the franchise because you added voice actors. You know, you went beyond the limits of Click Team to a lot of people, where you know you added a sense of free roam in this like huge location. Is that maybe why you decided to put voice acting in to change things up a little bit?
I think for Five Nights at Freddy's 1 through 4, I consider that all like one sitting for me. Like I sat down, I feel like I just sat down and made all 4 games in one sitting.
Yeah.
And it was only after that I sat back and thought, you know, how can I improve upon this? How can I add something new? And so that's when I was, you know, entertaining new ideas in my mind. Yeah. And yeah, voice acting just kind of, I don't remember exactly what it was, but man, I'm sure glad that I did. You know, I bumped into just some incredible talent, you know, that I got to use. Obviously, I mean, almost all of them, if not all of the voice actors I got for Sister Location have come back to reprise their roles or other roles, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly, that's awesome.
It's amazing people.
Yeah, they really are. Hello, by the way, voice actors, if you're watching.
Hello, voice actors.
So, I think you've basically answered some of these. So I asked, like, what inspired you to make the game style so different. I mean, like, I think you've answered that throughout the interview. You just wanted to make something different compared to the others. So, how were these two model and design?
I think the Sister Location. I think the Sister Location characters are probably were my favorite ones to model. I really like the metallic kind of look. I always kind of tend to lean sci-fi, which has actually gotten me in trouble a couple of times with this franchise. You know, anytime I try to lean sci-fi, which is my natural inclination, you know, people are like, "Hey, whoa, this is a horror story," and then I have to somehow try to guide it back, you know. And then rightfully so, the first game's a horror movie, it's not sci-fi. But yeah, I don't know. I just I wanted it to be sci-fi. I wanted it to look really sleek and polished, and I really enjoyed modeling all of those characters. And yeah, like I said, I think those are probably some of my favorite characters of the series.
So here's an interesting one, which I don't know if you're going to answer or not. So in Night 4, when we're inside the suit, a lot of people wanted to know whose suit is that.
Whose suit is that? I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to answer that for you.
That's fine.
That's gonna have to remain a topic of discussion.
Any memories or favourite moments?
I really enjoyed making that game. I have nothing but good memories about that. Yeah,
Awesome.
I really enjoyed making that, and I really enjoyed working on the trailer. I think that's my favorite trailer, the ones that I made, and I loved seeing the reactions. Everybody just seemed to, and honestly, I think that's what creates the memories for me, is just seeing how things are kind of received. And obviously, if something is received really well, then I know I did my job right. And I know that I did something right. And yeah, being able so I think my favorite moment was getting to release that trailer and just seeing all the excitement from it, and then I knew that I was on the right track.
Awesome. Yeah, I loved that trailer. I think I did a reaction. Yes, I did a reaction. I loved it. They're so good and different as well, compared to your other trailers too, because I think the favourite trailers from you to me are most likely FNAF 3 and Sister Location. I love it when you put like your own cutscenes in the trailers. I think it's really awesome. I have no idea how you did that. How did you do that, if I can ask that? Like, how did you put the models in cutscenes? Was that with Click Team? I don't know anything about this stuff.
Well, I mean, before I was making video games, I mean, I was an animator. I got my degree in computer animation, and I had several jobs where I was, none of my jobs have ever involved making games at all. It's always been about using 3D Studio Max, obviously the modeling software that I use, and and that's a full animation program. So whenever I went to make the cutscenes, I wouldn't use Click Team at all. I would just go back to my old school skills, bring my characters together and animate them. Render out movies, drop those into my video editing software, and there you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've watched some of your old animations, by the way, on YouTube. They're all out there, Scott.
Oh, I know, man. I know. There's no getting away from them.
No, they were good. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. They were really good. My favourite one, right, was with the cat. So the cat under the bridge, and the kid was always scared to see the cat, but he always used to leave her food, and what he didn't know is that she had babies. That's so cute.
Hey, that's a true story. That is based off of a true story. My family we were living in a little apartment complex, and there was always this creepy, ratty looking cat that we all started fondly calling Demon Cat. And in fact, I took and my two sons now, who are teenagers, they were just 3 and 4 at the time. Yeah. But we actually went out searching for demon. We made an event of it one night. We all got flashlights and went searching around the apartment complex looking for the Demon Cat. And I even got a photograph of it. And man, I don't know whatever happened to it, but we peered under a car, and I took a picture, and of course its eyes were glowing green, and we found Demon Cat. But then true to the story, like I don't know if it was a week or 2 later or whatever, it was a mama cat, had little babies, so it wasn't really this big bad cat. It was just a mama. And of course everybody was taking care of it. Like every single person was setting out food for her, so she was well taken care of. That's
awesome. Actually, thinking about your voice right now, you did narrate those, right?
Oh yeah, that was me, and all of the voice roles. I mean, all the male roles, obviously, but
yeah.
Well, I mean, these days I'm so fortunate to, be able to go online and be able to connect with voice talent. Not that I mean, I wouldn't have been able to afford it back at the time anyway, but the internet was brand new. I mean, we're talking 15, 16, 17 years ago, when, I mean, yeah, the internet was around, but you couldn't just go online and connect with the kind of talent that you can today, So I was pretty much on my own when it came to voice acting.